and welcome. If you're managing diabetes, figuring out what to eat can feel, well, like trying to solve a really complicated puzzle, right? So today, we're going to make it simple. We're going to cut through that confusion and give you some real practical tools to feel in control. Let's get started. Okay, just a quick note before we dive in. This explainer is based on a chapter from the book Madza Madhume Maze Niantran. If you'd like more details, please do visit www.schoolfordiabetes.in. All right, so here's what we've got lined up. Think of this as our little journey to empowerment. First, we'll cover the real basics, how food is literally your body's fuel. Then we'll get into the whole sugar story, GI and GL. After that, it gets personal. We'll talk about your numbers. We're going to design the perfect plate, talk about this cool trick called carb exchange, and then wrap it all up by connecting everything to your lifestyle and insulin. Okay, first things first, let's start at the very beginning. I want you to think about food in a new way. Not just as something tasty you eat, but as the actual fuel that keeps your entire body running. We hear about calories all the time, right? Count your calories, burn your calories, cut your calories. But have you ever stopped to think, what even is a calorie? Well, it's actually pretty simple. You know how a car needs petrol to run? Your body is the same. It needs energy from food. A calorie is just how we measure that energy. It's the fuel behind, well, everything you do, from your heart beating to you thinking right now. But here's the thing. Not all fuel is created equal. Take a look at this. Carbs and proteins give you about 4 calories per gram, but fats, they pack a whopping 9 calories per gram. That's more than double. And this is so important to remember for weight management because it means even a small amount of a high-fat food can carry a lot of energy. And of course, the amount of fuel we need is totally different for everyone. I mean, someone working at a desk might only need, say, 1,800 calories, but a construction worker, they might need closer to 4,000. This right here is exactly why those one-size-fits-all diets just don't work. Everyone's needs are unique to them. Okay, so we know different foods have different amounts of energy. The next big question, especially for diabetes, is how do these foods actually affect your blood sugar? And that brings us to our next topic, the sugar story, or GI and GL. Let's break down something called the glycemic index, or GI for short. The easiest way to think about it is like a speed rating for sugar. High GI foods like white bread are like a race car. They release sugar into your blood super fast, causing those big spikes. But low GI foods like lentils and veggies, they're more like a steady walk. They release sugar slowly and evenly. And when it comes to managing diabetes, slow and steady is absolutely what we're aiming for. But wait, speed isn't the whole story. And that's where this other thing, glycemic load, or GL, is really useful. It's a bit smarter because it looks at 2 things. The speed, that's the GI, and the portion size. Think about it. A small bite of a fast food might actually have less impact than a giant plate of a medium food. So it's not just about what you eat. It's also about how much you're eating. That's a game changer. And that brings us back to this idea that everything needs to be personalized. To really build a plan that works for you, you've got to know your body's specific needs. And that means getting familiar with a few of your own personal numbers. Okay, so 2 of the big ones you'll want to know are your BMI and your BMR. BMI, or body mass index, gives you a rough idea of body fat based on your height and weight. And the source material points out that a healthy range for Indians is around 17 to 21. The other number is your BMR, or basal metabolic rate. Now this is really cool. It's the amount of calories your body needs just to keep the lights on. For breathing, circulating blood, all that stuff. These 2 numbers together, they're basically the starting point for creating your own personalized plan. All right, enough with the theory for a second. Let's get super practical. This next part is all about how to design your ideal plate. It's a really simple visual way to get your meals right without having to count every little thing. And here it is. This is called the ideal Indian thali model. It's so easy. You just need 4 small bowls. In the first one, you put your salad or koshambir. The second one is for your protein. Think dal, chicken, or fish. The third bowl gets a thin vegetable curry or more dal. And the fourth is for a dry veggie dish. Now, here's the key part. On your main plate, you only take 1 portion of carbs. That could be 1 roti, a small bhakri, or 1 small bowl of rice. See how that works? Most of your plate is filled with veggies and protein, and the carbs are just a small part of the meal. Okay, but what about this scenario? We've all been there, right? You've finished your meal, but you're still feeling a little bit hungry. So what's the move? This is the golden rule, and it's so simple. You can refill the vegetable and protein bowls, but not the carbohydrate part of your plate. That's it. It is such a simple but really powerful trick to help you feel full and satisfied while keeping your blood sugar nice and steady. You can literally start doing this at your very next meal. Okay, let's build on that idea of making smart choices. There's another really powerful technique called carb exchange. This is all about making clever swaps to get even more control over your blood sugar levels. So the idea behind carb exchange isn't about starving yourself or eating less. It's about eating smarter. You just swap some of those high-carb foods for something that's got more protein, fat, or fiber. And since protein and fat don't really raise your blood sugar, you end up feeling just as full but without the sugar spike. It's all about making a strategic swap, not depriving yourself. Okay, for our last section, let's bring everything we've talked about together. We're going to look at lifestyle and insulin so you can understand the science behind why all of these little changes can make such a big difference. I love this analogy for explaining insulin resistance. Imagine your insulin is a key, and the cells in your body have a little lock on them. Now, in a healthy person, the insulin key fits perfectly into the lock, opening the cell door so sugar can get inside and be used for energy. Simple, right? But with insulin resistance, excess fat can kind of work the lock. So the insulin key doesn't fit anymore. The door stays locked, and all that sugar gets stuck outside in your bloodstream. And that right there is the root problem in type 2 diabetes. And if you're looking for one last piece of motivation, just look at this number. Our source material says that an incredible 85% of diabetes cases are due to our diet and lifestyle. Now, that's not meant to make you feel bad. It's actually the opposite. It should feel empowering because it means that so much of the power to manage this is right in your own hands. And that brings me to this really powerful quote from the book. Lifestyle change is the only effective treatment for the tsunami of obesity and diabetes in India. Wow. I mean, that really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? It highlights how big the challenge is, but it also points directly to the solution. So after all of this, remember, knowledge is great, but it's only powerful when you use it. So I want to leave you with one final thought, a question just for you. What's one small change, just one thing, that you can do with your plate today?